Well, thank you for coming. I am very, very honored that this many people show up. I never imagined, really. It's way crowded that last time. Last time was crowded, but this time it's amazing. I really appreciate everybody coming. I have some clients here. I have a lot of people that I don't know. So I hope I don't disappoint you and I make the best of your 40 minutes, 1 hour of the night. And as I'm gonna introduce you to who I am, where I come from, and two things that really changed my life. I'm an architect. I have a master's in construction management by the University of the Wadi here in the Yucatan, and I studied for a year and a half in the U.S. As well. And that's when I have the opportunity to learn better the language and to, more than anything, understand the American culture, how it works and what are the expectations, and I think that has helped me a lot through my career. So the name of our company is Centro Architects. We are Centro Architects. This is one of our last complete remodels. We used part of the building on the front, rescue it, and then the rest was new. So I want to start with this picture of me when I started right after I was after my degree, after I finished. I was going to small communities in the Yucatan. We were building kitchens for people, and to me, these people were incredible. They really and truly changed the way I understand the people in the little towns, and how it made me realize, like, all the people that work for me, all my workers, come from these communities. And I was able, I sleep in some of these people's houses. They fed us, they treat us incredibly, they really give us everything they have. And to me, that was a life changer. Like, it really impacted me how people can give everything they have to some completely stranger. And we tried since, I tried since then to do whatever I can to help anybody. And it's not just people in need, there is other people that need help, people that come to Merida that have no idea how things work, that are repulsed by other people, and these are stories that repeat all over the place, and I really want to do the difference, and I want to make something different for people to enjoy it. Going through that experience with people, I went to the US and I went to study in the urban studio. So we basically design communities for people, low-income people, that didn't have the opportunity to really develop their cities. This was in Alabama, in the University of Auburn. And I went to the urban studio for 6 months, and then I came back here for 6 months, and then I came back to the rural studio, which was actually working as we learned how to design and build. So we built this ourselves. It was a team of 5 people from all over the place. They weren't actually from Auburn. We were an outreach program, so I was with a Canadian and with somebody else from different parts of the world. And it was an incredible experience, as you can imagine, like building in a different country with different language, with 5 studs or whatever, and then all this trust and things that I never have been introduced to. And people ask me, like, well, so how can you apply that here? But I'm like, well, the knowledge and the construction and the ability of doing it, you can apply it here for sure. Like it goes in the same sense. And it was on the same line of helping people. This actually was a house for a guy named Biscuit. They call him Biscuit because he always had biscuits on his pockets, and he will throw it to his dogs. He had a lot of dogs. He had like 5 or 6 dogs. And he I don't have the picture, but he lived in a place that was awful, really, really, truly awful. And we made this house for him, and it was one of the most grateful experience for me. Again, doing something for others, I think that drives me a lot. And this guy was just, we couldn't communicate really. I was learning English in Alabama, and he has this thick accent. that it was very, very hard to understand, but we were laughing with each other, so it was great. It was a really nice experience. So I have a lot of experiences through my life that have changed it a lot, and these are the two that I consider that have made the things that we look into in our company. So I'm going to talk really quickly about this. This is my company. This is my team. It's an amazing team. They're just young people ready to work, always helping. I have a person the other day called me and was like, Fernando, I need you to come. I was like, well, please call Abreu, which is the head of maintenance, and he was like, but I really need you, and I was like, just call her. He called her, and the next time, like, he sent me a message, and he said, wow, she was fantastic. She stayed here, and she helped me, and she was super helpful, and I love that. I love in our company, we try to teach them to be really independent. They're not working for me, I am working for them. They literally schedule my day, they tell me what to do, and I go and do it. And so I'm working for them. I love to teach them. I love to show them how things should be done and that things have to be done right. And we try to don't argue much. If somebody said a client is discontent and they want something done in a certain way, we'll do it because we think it's important to have a good service, and I think that's what sets us apart. Many people don't give good service. We try our best to do a good service. Hopefully we do it. And this office, all these people, they are divided. We have divided in 3 administrations, which one of them is design. So we have a department that looks into doing the drawings, doing all the designs that go through that serve the other 2 departments. These are independent. These, like my 3 different teams have different administrations. They run by themselves. They get money to pay themselves. So it's like a whole 3 companies in one, pretty much. Then we have maintenance, which is what most of the people knows for. We're working for about 40 to 50 people at the same time right now. So that's like, in any given time, we're working between 40 to 50 people. You can imagine it's crazy administration. And we don't work out of Centro. We actually specialize in Centro. We just stay in Centro because, as he said, somebody calls you and you're around the corner, you can shut it and get it done and do the job. Beside these 2, we have projects, which is the big houses. So complete projects, we are until now, since we started about 9-10 years ago, we have been very strong about just getting one project. We really believe that having one project that we can focus on and we can look after all the details, make sure things align, make sure things are well done, is very, very important. To me, having a house is almost like a baby. So I want it to be perfect, I want it to be nice, I want it to be well thought and give it all my attention. Tonight, let's start with the presentation. So I hope I didn't get you bored there. But I'm gonna start telling you what happened last year. Last year we talked about all the pumps, we talk about water systems, we talk about electricity, we talk about all these things that happen in a house. And when I finished, I had all these issues that I didn't touch, so I didn't talk about them because it was just too long. So I came back and I did a second presentation, and the English library was very nice to invite me over again. So I put some pictures into it. I tried to make it very simple. It's just a title and a picture for all the presentation. And what we're going to talk about is basically issues that happen in houses more related to the structure of the house, so like the ceilings, the walls, the floors, things like that. And I hope you find it interesting. If you want to go into, I see that too, if you want to go into the website, you can find the other presentation, which I recommend, not because I did it, but it's very interesting. So many of us, and I think I make videos too. We have a Facebook page and I post them there. we post videos about do-it-yourself. So when the pandemic hit, I wasn't able to go to serve my clients. It was a big thing for us, and it was very worrying me. And I did this series of videos that you can freely go into our Facebook page and download them. And they will demonstrate some things that you can do yourself to fix your house, to patch something, to take care of your plaster floors or anything like that. And I got a very good response. It was very nice because people, I had a person actually the other week calling me from South America to tell me how to treat his pasta floors. I sent her a video. She said, "Wow, this is fantastic, great information," and like it's really good. And I then thought about this presentation, making it together about that with all the things. So without further things, I'm gonna talk to you about the mamposteria walls. So in Merida, most of the houses in Centro are built with mamposteria walls, which are rock walls basically. If you imagine, these houses are old, so the material that used to paste these rocks together is now old. Actually, many people that have built houses in Merida, when you take down the finish, you know that it crumbles. So the rocks are there, they don't move, hopefully, and you can take down the finish or the material that was pasting around, and it starts going down. And the reason is because it's old. I mean, you have to, it wears out with the time. So in this case, at this house, they asked us for a solution because it was, of course, the humidity goes up. And the next slide, I explain you a little bit about the humidity. But what we did here is we take down all the finish and refinish it, but instead of using paint, we use cement. So we use, in this case, gray cement. You can do yellow cement, you can do red cement, you can do white cement, you can use any type of cement. There's a lot of colors available now. Some people have some colors. And you can mix them on the final coat finish, and you finish it, and it's smooth, and the humidity does show up, but it doesn't flicker, doesn't come off. You get like the calcium still coming out, but you can clean it up with a rag, and you'll be perfectly fine. So it sometimes, as you probably know, some of you know, this part of the wall is what gets more affected. So it's not up here. If you have a problem up here, it probably comes from the neighbor. If you have a problem up there, it probably comes from the ceiling, in my experience. It could be otherwise, but this is the way they show. And some people do other things, like, for example, I know people that cut like a baseboard at the bottom and take out the finish and just let the wall breathe through. And then some other people put like also holes so the humidity can come out. The idea is that to take that out, take that humidity out. So I did this drawing for a client. I hope it's not here. So they have an issue with their wall. It was a stone wall, and the stone wall was getting very wet. It was a difficult situation because also the neighbors have a garden right there, and they have an irrigation system. So every day that irrigation was running, and so of course the water was seeping through the wall. As I explained before, these walls are rocks, but they're put up with material that absorbs a lot of water because it's really crumbly. So the water just seeps in from the bottom. And one of the things I want to explain here is that when a mamposteria wall happens, what they used to do in the past is they dig a hole, and 1 meter down probably, which is about 3 feet, they will start the mamposteria and then go up from there. So all of the water that is under our soil will go back. We're very lucky actually to have that much water. It comes up and seeps up to the wall, and then it shows up on your paint and on your finish. And the calcium and things that come from the ground are the ones that you see in white getting into the wall. So what you want to do in that case is either do the cement that I mentioned. You can also use paint, but the paint, many people think that needs to be a good paint. But really, if you put something very, very strong, like plasticky, like I'm not gonna mention brands, but something like very strong, what's gonna happen is the water is gonna try to come out, and it's not gonna be able to. So the paint's gonna sack like this. So that's what happened. Sometimes I bet when it was a very rainy season, it was a time where you pass by the facades, and a lot of them have this, especially in new buildings. But getting back to here, so there is three things that normally you see in a wall causing this, and it's the bottom part, which normally is the water that seeps up, is how high it goes, so it doesn't appear like in these areas of the house. Also, if the finish of the neighbor, this is something very recurrent. People say, "Oh, my wall is getting wet, and I don't know what's happening." And it's like in the middle of the room, what's going on? I always tell them, let's go see the neighbor. So we go see the neighbor, and sure enough, they don't have a finish. And that's a huge problem, because how do you make them put a finish into their wall? But anyways, if you are kind enough, you might be able to convince them. When you don't have a finish on the other side, you start seeing stains in the middle of the wall. And then there is the other ones that are on top. So on top, I brought this and I'm using it. So on top of the wall, you have the roof right here. In this case, they have a big carpet, but you can have water penetrating in this area and then go down and filter through. And normally you're gonna see that in this area of the ceiling and this area of the wall. So let me show you an example. This is a house. This is the house of the main presentation. In this house, what we did is we used white cement to kind of prevent the maintenance on these walls. As you can see, it gives it, as architects will say, it gives it a patina. So you don't have to worry about it. It looks nice, I think. Many people think it doesn't. But we believe that it's a very nice way to prevent this. We keep doing maintenance to this house to today, and the maintenance is very low. Of course, we work in maintenance. We have a lot of experience on things that happen, so we try to prevent it in our projects. But you can see here that it's not that bad, and it actually works. And you can also use other colors. For example, this is yellow. This is from my house, actually. And you can see how it gets like these different tonalities because of the humidity of the wall, and it looks nice. I mean, it's a good solution, easy enough. And if you can't, like that's not enough, you can put rock on your wall, and that won't show anything. So you might get some humidity areas here, but they don't show up that much. And another thing that people do is they normally put. They believe that they can take down the finish in here and you will find a good wall. The reality is that it starts dusting. So I've seen houses where they make kitchens, where they put these beautiful walls. You get in and there's like all this dust all over your pants, all over your foot. And it's like, please don't do that. To do this, you have to redo the finish on it. So the whole cement goes up again, and you have to fill it up with stones and use the stones that are there. So in case you're building a house, there's a tip right there. And then the final, you have seen this bathroom, I call them bathroom facades. They put all these tiles on the front of the house, and the reason is they just get tired of fighting the humidity, and you can do something like that too. This is ceramic tile, so it's a good solution also if you find a tile that you like. There is new tiles now that look a little bit more like more interesting, like stone, and I think they're very good for tackling that issue. And that's actually what happened here was the finish came off because the white cement finish has to be applied fairly soon after you do the finish. If you do it later, the finish on the back gets dry. So when you try to put the finish on top, it comes off. So it's something that have to be supervised. And now I'm gonna tell you a little bit about cracks, because this is something else that happened when you have a house, when you put a finish on your wall, and you start getting these crack things, and people call me and they're like, Fernando, my house is gonna fall, look at that. It's cracking. So there is different cracks, and I just wanna show you really quickly. This type of crack, it's a crack that happens when the cement starts, because we're in a hot zone, the cement expands and contracts. And sometimes with this happening, if you have white cement in your walls or you have another color cement, it might do this. It might just move and cause these type of cracks, which are perfectly fine. They're just annoying and kind of ugly to see, but they don't gonna cause any harm to the house. The only thing that you have to make sure when these things appear is to get a little coin. It could be a 25 cents coin, or it could be a peso coin. No, I'm just kidding. And you tap on it. If it sounds hollow, there is a problem, because the finish has come up, and in that case, it is a problem, and it is a horrendous problem. Because let me go back to this. Imagine you have this beautiful wall. I can put the yellow one. This wall, and this part comes off. Then you have to refinish the whole thing. Like, there is no way you're gonna ever match something here. It's just gonna be there. So that's one of the things that when you do a house, it has to be, if you're gonna use this kind of finish that is like very often used by everybody, especially chukum. If you're gonna do this, you have to hire somebody that gives you a very good design. It has to be well designed. You can't come back and just make a new outlet there. It's not gonna work. It's gonna show up, and to fix it, you're gonna have to take down the whole finish of the wall. And in this case, this wall is like 5 meters long, so you don't wanna deal with that. Give me a second. Okay. So the second crack that I have here is very common too. What happened is this wall is shorter than this one. By the way, I didn't do this house, now. There is a crack here that happens because the two elements were not bonded probably correctly here. They didn't put a metal with rebar with cement structure in here. And when they work differently. So the cement works differently when there is a higher structure beside another one. If you have a house and you put a wall beside it, and which is actually this one, you have a wall and somebody built a new cement wall beside it. If you don't make sure these get together properly, you're gonna have problems with cracks. So if you have this type of cracks, it's not, this for example, I won't be that worried about it, but and this one either. But the thing is with this type of cracks that you will never be able to fix them really, because the structure moves. So it takes a long time for the structure to really settle, and by the time it's settled, you're probably gonna have repaired it a dozen times. It just repeats and repeats and repeats because there's nothing to do. The structure is moving and it's gonna keep cracking. And I already explained the other one. So I'm gonna pass to the floors. This is one of the last kitchens we did, and we used pasta tile on the floor. The pasta tile, it's very, very difficult to maintain, especially in the kitchen. If I can avoid putting it in the kitchen, I couldn't this time. The client has always is always right. So I think it looks beautiful, but we already changed all this area here because I think it was awesome. Got in here and probably this bottle of olive oil, like dump it, and like all of these tiles were completely soaked in oil. So we have to go there in the new kitchen, put a bunch of plastic everywhere, and they cut off this area and replace the tile. That was something else. And so it's very easy to do with the oil, with the lime, with whatever almost that you use, and with the cleaners that love to use muriatic acid and just dump it all on the floor. you burn the finish, and then it's a whole deal to really get this change, because when you break one, the other one chips, and then you break another one, and the other one chips, and then it's like you end up with a big hole, and the whole kitchen almost changing everything. So we caught it, but it's a lot of dust, so it was very messy. When you do this, also talking about humidity, what we do in this particular case, we pour the concrete and then put a waterproof sealer on it. So this prevents the moisture to go through the tiles, because what happens is when you have moisture going through, and some of you might know, you get wet areas even, and they get dirty. And if you pass your feet over it, you don't see, or your shoes, they're dirty. And with the little bit of water that it has, it starts getting all dirty and nasty. So when you do, if you're gonna do a kitchen, if you're gonna do, if you're gonna do a kitchen, do tile. I'm just kidding. But if you're gonna use pasta tile, it's very recommended to use something like this, or perhaps in this case we rescue this tile and we use white cement at the borders, and we use a plastic cover. I don't like to use the plastic that much. I hope the owner of the house is not here. It's effective, but it has some. When you pour the concrete, it's kind of difficult to manage because it's uneven. But anyway, it doesn't. It's a good solution. We always put this metal mesh. Many people don't use them. If you dig out your floor, sometimes they don't have this. We're very particular about using this in my sites because it distributes the heat, so it prevents cracks and things like that. And this is the final product. We polish the floors, polish the cement, the white cement floor, and you can see this is normal. This is like the humidity that it was just done, so it was drying. But after it dries, it keeps itself better. I went to do inspection to this house, and I found the floors. And if you like cement floors, they definitely have to be well waterproof, or you get this. I mean, if you don't have the rebar or the mesh, this happens. It cracks, and then dirt gets there, and humidity passes through, and dirt passes through with the humidity. So when you do a floor, white cement floor, you have to make sure that those things happen. Otherwise, you end up with this, and then the only solution is a tile. You know. So in this case, this is a project we did a while ago, and in this project we decided to use tile on the exterior, which is a very grabby tile, so you don't fall. And actually, if you notice, if you're like me about design, we take out the skimmers, we put them inside under a tile that was made out of fiberglass. It was an amazing job they did with that fiberglass. I couldn't even, you cannot see that this piece is not the same. I mean, they did a great job. It was very expensive, but it was truly good because you can't see any of those things here. So the whole thing became very nice. But anyway, the tile is my main suggestion if you wanna do. The tile just works well here in Merida. Zero maintenance or almost zero maintenance. You just have to make sure that you put grouting on it and keep the grouting going. The other thing is if you're gonna put tile in a roof though, in the roof you have to make sure that you put the grouting very, very well. Because if you have the grouting gone, water will go in, will go under your tile, and there is no way you're gonna be able to prevent the cracking that is happening down there, and the water will penetrate the house. I'm gonna take a little bit about ceiling. So this is the other issue that I showed you before. I'm sure there are a lot of people very familiar with this. This actually was a passage on the roof. So some people here make the beams on, well, in the old construction, they used to do beams on the roof, and so you need passages for the water. And in this case, this water drain had a tree growing inside it. So you can see here the roots, they make their way all the way through the ceiling, which this ceiling, by the way, is made out of, this is like the wood beam, and then this part is made out of rocks with cement. So it's really thin. It's not much space into it. And so water can penetrate fairly easy because they're also old, and the same situation of the bottom of the floor, the water just seeps through. And if you don't have a very well waterproofing, and if you don't have the cracks tackled with I'll show you later, tape, you will have these issues. And here, it doesn't matter how many times I'll paint this, I have to fix the problem on the roof so you can be able to get rid of this. Otherwise, and then I'm not even reading this. So the stains, I put this crazy example because I didn't find any on my picture. But some people have mold in their houses, and some people have green areas in their house. And all I wanted to say here is that when you have, some people think, oh, I have a leak. Well, if you have a leak, the water is coming out constantly. So the surface is going to be green. So when you see a green spot in your house, it's very likely a leak. If you have in the ceiling, also it could be water penetration from the roof. So you have to see in the roof what's going on. But this is actually what you see. And another issue with the water passing through the roof is that you get this type of cracks. And people ask me, like, why is my beam cracking? Like, it's just concrete. Well, there is rebar running through here. And the rebar, when it gets wet, when it gets humid, it starts rusting. And when it rusts, it expands and it cracks the concrete. So these cracks, if you're probably going to go back to your house and like, damn, that Fernando was right. The rebar starts growing and then it cracks the concrete, and sometimes these pieces fall. But what you have to do is actually break the cement, give it a treatment, and then put back the finish, and that's pretty much all you can do, unless you want to change the whole thing. And I show you now a picture where you can see it clearly. This piece here fall. This is a very, very old roof, but I've seen inspections of houses that are just like this. And so you have the rebar exposed, and you can see how bad it is. Some of them are already gone. Like, so the corrosion have get to them because the roof is not properly done. And that takes me to the roofs. I've done quite some inspections for people that are gonna buy a property and wanna see what's going on. The first thing I visit is the roof. If you don't visit a roof, if you're gonna buy a house, go and when it's raining, that'll be preferred. You will see the reality. You will see if the streets get flooded. You can see if like there is some water going in. And then I find these type of things all over Merida. They use this orange pipe that is not resistant for the sun. It cracks, like you can touch it, it just goes to dust. And of course, this exposed cable is even worse. But these at some point will be exposed, and you will have some cables here, and they will deteriorate and cause electrical problems. Especially if you don't care, you take care of your roof, you have something like this, and the water gets into the lines. So imagine that combination, which by the way, this is the same house. So I have these, and then I have these, and probably electrical around here and around this area, which are getting underwater, and people don't even have an idea. And then you have pipes and things that get over the roof. A lot of people don't use cement or concrete bases for their air conditioners, which cause more problems because that's metal against the ceiling, And then when they do the waterproofing, they make a very beautiful work, and they just go around it very nicely. It's actually difficult to move because these can break. But when you do the waterproofing, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. And also I've seen some electrical like this. And guess what this is? Can somebody tell me what this is? It's a gas tank. So that's, and also the gas tanks also leak sometimes, So this is wonderful. They have a little pump to pump water up, and then they have these beautiful connections here right beside the gas tank, and this is a gas line. So, and that's, you think that this is like crazy and this is like a crazy picture. It's all over Merida. It's incredible. I go to houses, I'm like, I can't believe this. It's, take me down from here. No, I'm just kidding. Another thing that we do for the roof to prevent these problems is we put this type of screens that help. You see the leaves get around it, but I mean we have to also go and clean the roof from time to time. Otherwise, you get like all these leaves and they deteriorate all your finish. And it doesn't matter if you feel a very nice finish. In Merida, you have to redo your roof about every 3 years. And it doesn't matter if you put a really good coat, if you don't take care of the leaves, then you have problems and you're gonna probably have to do it again in a year. So it's good to go and check things like that. The other thing is the cracks on the roof. So when you do waterproofing, the waterproofing doesn't necessarily take care of the leaks. This is something, a common misunderstanding. People think, oh, I have a leak, but I just waterproof my roof. Yes, but there is cracks. And the cracks don't care about the waterproofing. So you can have the fabric over this, you can have the paint, but it doesn't matter. The crack will appear, we break it, and we'll rip it, and the water will go in. So to really do something effectively, you have to really wash all the area and I use a tape. It has worked for me for about 9-10 years in houses that I have tackled really, really bad cracks, and it's still working. They haven't told me, so that's good. But I use it quite a lot, and we have places where there is a lot of cracks, and you have to use the tape. And that's what have worked for us very, very effectively. And then after that, you have to make sure you put the waterproofing and you use the fabric. And many of us know that they said, yeah, Fernando, why is my quote so expensive? No, I'm just kidding. They said, oh, I have this other quote that was cheaper. Yes, but they're using the cheap fabric, which is a thin fabric that gets gone really quickly. So we use thick fabric in all of our waterproofings, and the method is to waterproof with the sealer. Then you put these over, and you have to put it like shingles. You're probably familiar with it. It has, if your water is going that way, you want the fabric to go over like this, like you do with shingles, like you do with other things, so the water passes through. If you put it the other way, and people do it because they don't know, they just lay it down, water will penetrate and lift up the fabric. So these are some tips if you're building your house to check. And another thing that I have seen, this was is when you have solar panels that are becoming very popular right now. The solar panel needs bases, and many people anchor them directly into the roof. I honestly don't know why would people do that, but anyways, I personally always told my clients, if you're gonna put your panels, you need to have a concrete base. And in this case, we went even farther because the roof here is an old roof. So with this, we did beams, and then on those beams we put the piece. Normally, if it's a normal roof, you will do this. So this is a 4-inch pipe, and they just fill it up with concrete and put some, and then you have to waterproof around those so you don't have problems. And even better if you can use the tape. So I think we're getting close to the last moments. I just want to talk a little bit about windows and doors. I always advise my clients that they can use aluminum windows. They work really well in Merida. They're not that appealing, maybe they're not as beautiful as for us architects as iron. But the iron normally, if you have iron in your house, take a look and you're gonna see that the angle that they put is normally this way, and then they paste the glass here. So there is always water coming through and getting into your house, and there is almost no way to solve that. I mean, the iron is gonna leak. So if you're gonna use iron, I'll show you in the next what you can do. But aluminum works really well. Wood deteriorates. There is many facades in Merida that get hit by the sun really badly. So you get these problems all the time, and you have to be constantly doing something. And at the company, we don't do termites. We don't like to deal with them. We refer them to somebody else. We want to our enemies. No, I'm just kidding. Termites, it's something really difficult to treat. They just recurrent and recurrent, and so I just want to say that just because I could. And then there is this screen that not many people know it exists. I use it a lot. It's available here, and it's a pet screen. It's very thick. It's better than the normal screen. If you have a skylight and you want to put screen, this is perfect because it resists a lot. It's called pet screen, and the pet screen is normally used for the cats, so the cats can't break it. Instead of putting that ugly metal mesh on your room, sorry if somebody has it, you can use this. And it looks nice, and it's very resistant, and it weathers nicely. And then, if you're gonna use iron, I strongly recommend to use it under a roof or under a canopy or under something that can prevent the water to get to it. So it's not bad to use iron. You can use it. It looks beautiful, but you have to be smart about it. And I hope you don't expect much of this presentation because it's over. I hope this is enough information. I hope I did a good job in delivering it to you, and I would like, please, to, if it's possible, to get my team here, please. I have a huge team, for 3 people. They're very nice. They're amazing. I really, truly appreciate everything they do for me, and I'm the face always. And I told them last presentation because I didn't let them pass. I forgot. But I want them to be here because I really want you to see their faces, to know them, and I'm very proud of them. I'm really, really proud of them, and I really want to give them a lot of love. They make everything happen. They are the ones. Well, let me introduce you to them really quickly. This is Abreu. She's the head of maintenance. She's crazy worker. She really works a lot. She's very nice. She speaks fluent English. So she's very, very nice in the office, and she managed a bunch of things that I could not even imagine. She takes a lot of my back, out of my back. There's Victor. Victor is also our contractor. So when he said, I'm gonna do contractor, I wanna do this, I wanna do that, instead of firing him like everybody will do, I told him, come here, work for us. What are you doing work for somebody else? Just work for the company. So now he's the head of all the big projects. He manages all the projects, and he's the head of construction in the office. We have Emmanuel, that some of our clients here will recognize. I have to get a clone of me. So they always ask if he's my brother, if he's my cousin or something. We are not related, probably. I don't know if my dad can listen anymore. But he's very nice, he's very polite, and I love having him in the office because he takes care of a lot of things that I used to do. There's Diana, she's the head of design. She's always, I empower them to talk directly with the clients, so she is always talking with the clients directly, getting their ideas, and then when they need me, I come in. But she managed a lot of things in the office in design. We have Vero. Veronica is from Venezuela, and she came to Merida. She's an entrepreneur in her blood. She manages the projects as well. She's the administrator, and she sees everything that has to do with money. She probably read poor dad rich dad at the age of 13, 12. I mean, she was an entrepreneur before she was born, probably. There's Isa. Isa has the very difficult task in the office, which is, as I said, we work for 50 different clients. Somebody has to organize the agenda. So her puts all of the meetings in the calendar so people can be there on time. She makes sure everyone is on time there, and she makes sure that all the contractors get there on time. And you can imagine what is that in Mexico. It's hard. So she's really good at that. And we have a new addition to the team, which is David. David came into the team and he helped the projects team. We were surprised. He was a present for us because he is very knowledgeable. He's learning Japanese currently, and he's very knowledgeable about construction. He has helped us improve the things we do at the office, and it's just amazing. We have Jose. Jose does help us with the estimates, which also it's crazy to deal with the contractors. And please send it to me. Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow, and it never happened. So she's very good, very patient. I told her always she's very peaceful. So you need that to be able to deal with the contractors. And also, what's your name? He's the new one in the office now. He's probably working for 6 months, still call him the new one. He's Joel, and he also does the estimates together with Jose. They work very well together. Very smart guy, and he also I don't know if he used to. He has a little business in Punutma. He has a little coffee shop, and I mean, when I hear this, I was like, you're hired. I mean, I need people like that, you know. And we have Joel. Just kidding. He's Joel. So I always get confused. He's Joel, and he is also with a team of design. He's very good, very focused, very concentrated, and he's a very good team member of the design team. And we have Fernando Abreu. He's actually my cousin, and his dad didn't have another idea. He called him exactly like me. So I needed a clone too to drive me around. He's my driver. He takes me to all these places, and he has a fantastic memory. I tell him I need to go to this client's house. I don't have to think. He goes there, and he knows exactly where it is. And he knows all of the clients. I mean, it's like crazy. We have around from 350 to 400 clients, and he remembers the addresses. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing. Well, this is my team. Please a round of applause to them. They're fantastic. Thank you. Let's pass to the questions. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So now I can take some questions. You can make questions about other things too. Doesn't have to be related with it. Anything about mathematics. Sir, what's your name?
All your employees still in high school.
Yeah. Right. They're very young, but they're very professional, and that's what motivates me to keep going with this. Oh, and for the people that is leaving, sorry for the questions, but we print out these beautiful magnets for your fridge that have. Can somebody take this? These are magnets. I'm not selling them. I'm just passing them away. They have home maintenance. It's a guide which will tell you what you have to take care of your house every month, every 6 months, every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, every 5 years, and so. So with these, you can put it in your fridge, and you can keep a track of what needs to be done in the house. And I hope I have enough for everybody. We print 80. But if you don't, then you let us know, and you can probably download it also in our website. Sorry, many questions. What's your name? Yeah, you.
I'm Jane.
Jane.
And I have a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
One is with the pasta tile.
Mm-hmm.
I gather from what you said, if you have old pasta tile and they have stains, you live with them?
Do you live with them?
With the stains, you can't really get the stains out.
Well, it depends. A lot of stains happen because of you drag your feet on the humidity, and these can be taken out with polish. So if you polish the floor, what they do, the process of polishing is with a sandpaper. They have machines and they pass the sandpaper over, and then they polish the floor, and that takes a lot of stains out. If they come from humidity, it's hard to take them out, but most of them come out with a cleaning and.
Okay, but so it's a sandpaper kind of brush?
It's a machine that they use like to sand with the sandpaper and water, and then they do the polishing over there.
Okay. Next question.
Yes.
Is related to hospital. We also have the homely wash on the walls in the bathroom.
Mhm.
And I notice one of the bathrooms is it's getting really like effluent and some
Yeah.
coming through. How do you clean that off, and is that a problem?
Yeah. So she has pasta tiles on the wall, and the calcium comes through it. So pasta tile, as I said, it's a cement. So it's like an extension of your finish. So basically, it's like What do you think? I think she's pregnant. The pasta tile is like an extension of the finish. So you have the finish and you have the pasta. The pasta is just cement. So the humidity will pass right through. If you have this problem, they can be buffered, they can be clean, but the problem won't go away really. And if you, sometimes we seal the pasta on the floor, on the wall, because it's hard to polish. Sometimes we seal it, but if you have that type of problem, don't do it because it will peel off.
What do you clean?
There is a video on my Facebook page that will tell you exactly what to use. It's called Trata Mop, and you can see the video on Facebook, Centro Architects.
Okay, all right. And now I have one quick question.
Yes.
I have two more quick
Wow.
questions. One is, how do you know in your home when you've reached your capacity for electric appliances or whatever?
Yeah.
We have people coming in and they're just putting stuff up, and I keep thinking, I could do that in the States.
Yeah, but that's a really interesting question. I'm going to share with you some of the issues. The most common issues in here is that we have so she asked about electricity. How do you know that you're reaching the capacity of your house? Most of the houses here are built with 1 or 2 breakers. Literally, I have been in houses where you come in and there's just 2 breakers because they didn't use that much electricity back then. But now we're using pumps, we're using air conditioners, we're using a bunch of other things. And the reality is, Merida is not prepared for what's happening in Centro. I mean, there's a booming in Centro, and a lot of people is coming in, and there is a lot of air conditioners on, there's pumps going for the pools, and it's just Centro, and you see the electrical, it's not good. And it's old, and the connections get bad, and then to get CFE to replace your connection is like a whole nightmare. I'm like, hello, is somebody there? They come, if they see electricity in your house, if you have an intermittent problem, forget it. They don't want to do it because they come, if you have electricity, they go. And you can call them, they can come 5 times, and if there's electricity in your house, they don't want to do anything. So it's very hard, it's a bad service, it's a government service though. And it's sad, but that's one of the main things. And to be back to your question, the thing is when you build a house, you have to make sure to hire somebody that does a proper calculation of electrical and have breakers for all the different sections of your house. We do breakers for the outlets in different sections of the house. We do breakers for the lights. We do breakers for each air conditioner. We do breakers even, I have an experience where I was doing the house with a big pool. The people that came to install the oven, they said, no, we can't install it. You don't have one devoted to that one because we have one for that one and another appliance. So since then we do one for each, and just to keep it safe also. So the answer probably is you have to design it, and you know that it's not right when you start having lights flickering or issues like that.
The last question is there such a thing as soundproof glass here? We live on a very busy road, and during the day, buses
Right. That's a very common problem here in Merida. You have buses passing through the street, and you want to buffer it in a way. The things that I've seen other people apply is double glass pane on their doors, because the doors are the most. I mean, it's where it actually can go in. Because on the mamposteria wall, it's not that much of a problem. It's a thick wall. So you try to cover those, and it's hard because then you have the Dilipina, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't like it. No, it's kidding. So you can put double pane glass. I don't personally like double pane glass. We use 10 millimeter glass. We use a thicker glass rather than double, because with our sun and with the rain, sometimes the gas escapes and water comes into in between the two glass. So that's one of the things that you can do, and it's not much else to do, I guess, in sound. Somebody else? Thank you very much for your questions. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, we're from Vancouver, and when it's sunny here, it's raining there. So, there's a lot of problems with water penetration,
Right.
probably much more so than water. But, there's a type of stucco that's used there, it's an acrylic-based stucco. They use acrylic-based stucco here.
There is new products. So what he's asking is water penetration in houses. In Canada, even worse, because I have a client that just have a horrible thing in the US, because their pipes freeze and then it becomes a disaster. But here, we don't have that much issues on the wall of water penetrating in the walls. It's more with the roof, because we have flat roofs, so the water just comes in, and you resolve it with the waterproofing. There is different products they sell. They sell cement, plastic cement, or other things, and they actually use them a lot when they have problems of humidity on the wall. The humidity is gonna look for where to go. So if you put this patch here of plastic cement, it's gonna probably go around. But if you use it for finishes on the exterior, it's better to use a good paint rather than the finish, maybe, because it's going to be too expensive probably. But there is some new products here that probably can use. I don't know about that specific one.
Do they use
But
torch down membranes on the roofs here?
they use fabric membrane.
So
I don't know the name
it's not
exactly
like
in English.
not like tar-based torch.
Oh yeah. There is some people that do that. I don't personally like it, because I don't use it because it's very permanent, and if you have an issue, and here people change their minds all the time. So if you want to do a repair or something, it's very hard to repair it, and also it's hard to find people that do it well. So that's my opinion on it. Thank you. Somebody else? Oh. Black mold on the pool?
It's on concrete around the
Like, if I'm understanding well, you're talking about the mold that grows up around the pool? On the walls? On top of the wall of the pool, or inside the pool?
No.
Sorry.
Above the pool.
About
About 2 feet above the pool. There's nothing to do with the pool.
Okay,
Black bacterial contamination.
I see. It's hard to prevent the mold. I've seen. I mean, when we have that issue, we send someone that is a specialist on cleaning, and they do the cleaning, and you can get rid of it for a while. But that's humidity that comes from the back of the wall. So really, to prevent it, you will probably have to do something with the work to work in the wall itself. But it's hard because it's already done. So I think that's difficult to really tackle. In my experience, I haven't been able to really tackle that. We just clean it constantly. Yes, please. Are you an architect? What? Um, I haven't heard about that product specifically, but your question leads me to when you have humidity in the walls, you, as I said before, you want to use cal paint or paint that is actually cheap because that let the humidity go through. So in some cases, that doesn't mean that you're going to prevent the limestone coming out because that lime or that white powder comes out anyway in whatever paint you put. If you have that type of trouble, it's going to be a constant problem. But for humidity, like if you get your walls wet, it's best to use a paint that let the wall breathe because you can try to stop the problem. It's like a leak. You try to put your hand over it, it's just going to spill everywhere else. So really, what you have to do is do that. Yeah. Right. So in the past, so in modern days, what we do is we put tart over the concrete at the bottom, so moisture doesn't come up. So we don't have that issue anymore. But in the past, they just dig a hole and put rocks and put it up, and probably didn't deal with those issues at the beginning. And it weren't an issue because the cement was recent and the humidity didn't come up. But now with the cement being deteriorated for all these years, now become very like absorbent. So it's probably a recent time problem. Probably like 50 years ago you start having those problems. But in any case, they use cal, which is a limestone material, and the cal paint and the the finish was actually with a lot of cal, and that will let the walls breathe. And you can see people still using that cal to paint the walls. You get dusty. And by the way, if you're gonna paint a wall that has that, you have to really make sure it comes off, otherwise your paint's gonna peel off of the wall. Is that okay? Thank you. Oh, perfect. Somebody else? Yes, sir.
What's your opinion of leaving a strip at the bottom or the top of the wall so the wall can breathe?
So the humidity comes from the ground and it goes up, and if you put an opening, it does help a little. In my experience, it haven't helped a lot, but it does help a little that the rock has that ability to get out the water before it comes up. And I think it's more effective actually than doing holes, because some people do holes, but it's a very tiny area. When you actually open the bottom of the wall and it actually looks nice, the water can leave before it goes. It makes it all the way up to the wall. So yeah, it's a good solution. Somebody else? Yes.
Every 3 years you have to do the repair.
Mhm.
So at what point is there too many layers?
Okay. So when you do waterproofing, and I mentioned you have to do a reseal every 3 years. So you clean well your roof. You put the first coat. You put the layer of the fabric. Then you put another 2 coats of waterproofing, and you have that fabric. And if you use the right fabric, it will last for a long time. What you have to do is every 3 years you come, wash the surface, get everything washed very well, and then you apply a new 2 coats on top of that to prevent any problems. And with these, you will guarantee that your roof keep going for a long time. If you see that there's areas that are ripping off or the fabrics are coming up, then you can replace those areas. Or if it's really bad condition, but I hardly find something like that that they use the right fabric, and it takes like a long time for it to really go bad, and you have to replace the fabric, which will be the thing to do. Somebody else? Sir, back there.
Fernando, you'd like to use some steel frame wash windows here, but you've also used the frameless bracketed type windows that don't have the wires. So large steel frame, this is iron.
Yeah.
And also the frameless windows that are just bracketed on.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Would you like either of those to be used?
Yeah. So the only issue that I see with the iron is maintenance. Or steel, which is probably also maintenance hard. The problem is when you put the glass on the iron, the type of connection kind of let water in. It's very difficult to prevent that the water goes in, and the water also sits on the metal and rusted. So you have a maintenance issue there, which doesn't happen with aluminum. And the other type of windows were the frameless with the clamps. So those are fine. They're used more in commercial, but if you want to use it in a house, I think there's fine. We have installed many of those, especially in bathrooms. They work pretty well, and on the facade, yeah. Thank you.
Maybe we'll,
You're good?
you'll,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think Fernando and his team will be around to answer some more questions. Is that true? Were you saying-
Yes, and we have some cookies and things. I hope they're left them. If you didn't get it, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm kind of frankly surprised to see so many pictures of my own home in his home. I deserve some sort of commission. Stick around, don't forget archaeology next week, filmmaking the week after that, mill nights on Friday. You'll be here for a while. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next year?
Yes.
The same one was very and this one.
That's